Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and today I want to talk to you about your mission statement. The mission statement is something you can have as your vision, something that you can hold on to even when you're not feeling really what you're doing. And I think my mission statement has helped me a lot during the last year and a half probably, and I haven't really even been so conscious about it. So how did this idea all came up that I wanted to talk to you about it, and why is it important and so on? It's not that I just like sit down and think, oh okay, I don't know what to talk about, let's talk about a mission statement. I have always those ideas that come to me during the day, whatever I'm doing, and I kind of like write them down, mainly to use them for for the videos, but also because it's something that I actually use for myself. So everything I talk about on here are really things that I figured out that are helping me to get ahead. And so this is why I also think mission statements are important, because I realized that I used mine for a very long time and wasn't really aware of it. So this whole thing happened or became interesting to me because I started a new job a couple of weeks ago, and one of the first days we had this evening event where they talked about the company's mission statement, and that they wrote down like the partners back in the day when there were like just 4 or 5 partners, like 15-16 years ago I guess, or maybe, yeah. And the mission statement pretty much states where you want to go, who you want to be, and it's just something you can really hold on to as the values within your company. And I was sitting there and this partner was talking, telling the story, and then I realized, man, I'm actually following a mission statement on my own for a while, since I started like really making those huge leaps in my development and where I want to go and who I want it to be. And it is so much more important because you are not always on your best in your best mental space. You're not always in your best in your everything, that you're never always motivated, concentrated, know what you want and so on. And in those kind of moments, if you know what you can hold on to based on what you once set up for yourself, and that you know is going to be good and it's going to lead you to somewhere, it can really get you out of those lower points of your development. Because what I realized, it does not matter if you're like living up here or up here in your mental space, or in the real world, or whatever it is, but you always have those fluctuations. You always do. I watched a video recently of Tony Robbins where he talked about how he still feels miserable sometimes, and he gets frustrated and he gets depressed, but he doesn't live there anymore. He does everything in his power to get out of this position. And I didn't used to do that a lot. I used to kind of like lay in my misery and my self-pity and to think, oh, why me? Why am I having those troubles and so on? And it didn't really get me out, it didn't help me to go anywhere and so on. But the more you kind of go into the direction you want, you're still gonna have those fluctuations, but first off, you can get out of them much quicker. And second of all, when you get out of them, the basis is always higher than it was before if you're working towards going somewhere where you want to go. So as we always say, the first thing you have to figure out is who you want to be and where you want to go. And this is where the mission statement comes into place, and I'll get into it a little bit more. But it got really, really clear to me as I was sitting in this evening event, and this company is a very, very specific statement. There are also some more general things, like they really want to be the best in their field and so on. But the essence of it, that there's really no bullshit in this whole approach, that they're not about making this big marketing and making everything seem perfect when it's not, and just to kind of be grounded and really be true and honest to themselves and to others, and always strive to be more, but never to really sugarcoat things. And this statement really represented what I was seeing around me, because I had a lot of interviews you know, in the last years for other jobs, and companies are really different. You really see that essence, and as I said, the smaller it is, the more you can really keep up with that. And I think for this company it's really fitting, and I think for you and for us and for everybody, once you've really developed who you want to be and you stick to that, it's so much easier to really get where you want it to be, instead of saying, well, I want to grow, I want to be a better person, I want to be happy, and then, you know, it doesn't really get you anywhere. And especially in those moments when you are low, and those happen, they happen, I don't know, sometimes they happen for me every other week, sometimes I have, like it is now, when I change everything in my surrounding, it happens more often. And it's in those moments that I decide, no, okay, I'm gonna stick to my mission statement. I'm gonna remember how I felt when I felt really good, and this is where I want to go again. It's possible. It's always a matter of how much you control your mind, and, you know, not your mind controls you. And I've said it many times, but this is like such a big important thing, because in those moments when you're low, you do feel, you know, it doesn't make sense. You do feel like this is all, you know, just, you know, not true, and you're just lying to yourself, thinking that life's gonna be better, or that life has a meaning, or whatever it is. That's just what happens. But there are certain things that are helping you to, first off, get out of those situations more quickly, and the other thing is, when you get back, to really have a basis that holds you somewhere. The first thing is the people around you. You know, when you have people, do not like for the people around them to change, because we all project onto others. So if there's a person I know that I always considered very strong and very forward, and always, you know, on their point, when they start at some point acting really weak and also defensive and all those kind of things, those things make a much bigger impression on me than somebody who I saw as being like this all the time. And I do give that person, if I'm not conscious about it, if, you know, subconsciously, you would give that person who changes a much harsher response. And I think this is also why people who are eager to succeed, who are eager to grow and so on, are faced with so much adversity, because there's so many people who don't want you to change. And this is a completely natural, normal thing. You know, I think people really know, as you know, do as good as they know at that point, and they don't really realize what's going on. They lash out at you, and actually, you know, lashing out at their situation, that they become aware that they're not doing their best or so on. And once you kind of like follow your mission statement, you can also use this in the other way. So for example, I normally was rather shy when it came to my opinions. I didn't do them, I didn't state them and so on. And now I make it a point to make it like a habit of really, when I think something, to say it. When there's something going on that I don't like, not like before, to always stay back, but to express myself. And it's gotten to a point where people really expect that of me. So once I go into this rut, and I can tell how the moment I start to become more of being expressive and more getting back into that mode, how people positively react towards me, because this is what they're mainly used to with me. When in the last months, you know, the year, that I rather am straightforward with my opinions and what I think is going to make life better and so on. And these things really help you. So your mission statement pretty much is really helping you to stay on that course, even when you're, you know, in those down moments, and then, you know, really helping you get back to those positions where everything around you, the way you live your life, the job you choose, the people you surround yourself with, and so on, align more and more with the person you want to be. And this is, you know, the one, you can't really tell which is coming first. You know, you can't really tell if it's the things you put out there, and then, you know, people come to you because of it, or if people first come to you and then you do something to enable that creation. But if you look at your life, and if you look at those situations where you really changed and developed as a person, you'll see how things have changed. The people you talk to have changed. The circumstances, your dress code maybe, the kind of things you do in your free time, the places where your mental energy goes changes. And it's a give and take. You, on the one hand, you absorb everything around you. On the other hand, you also put you put things out. But the more you put out there, the more you have a concrete surrounding that is giving you a base, which is a plateau once you fall off, and then you have, like, you want to start growing and you're in a better place again, then this is where you're at. You're not there where you were 2 years ago. You're there where you're now with the people surrounding you who, are more open to the things that really matter to you. You're surrounded by, let's say a home place that you created for yourself that is giving you comfort and tranquility. You're surrounded by people who really want to have a relationship with that person you want to be and not with the person who you used to be. Because sometimes people don't like us to change, but once you change, you see that there are a lot of people who will change with you and who are willing to accept you for who you want to be. And the ones who don't are not meant to be in your life. So I talk a lot about everything, around it, but didn't really get till now to really talk about the mission statement in itself. But it is very important because this is why this whole thing makes sense. So when you make a mission statement, but you can call it the other way. You can call it a vision statement, you can call it a mission statement, you can call it whatever you want. But the point is to find a time in your life where you're really positive. You do have that. Let's say you're on the lowest of the lowest. You still have in those 10 days, 1 day or 1 hour in those 10 days where you feel best. Where you really you can tell the difference. There's always this. You always fluctuate. There are always highs and lows depending on, the sun, depending on what you eat, and depending on how much physically active you were, depending on what you think about. But you have that one point where it's most positive, where it's the clearest who you want to be. And this is where you need to do the first step and remember that. Remember how you felt at that moment. To really make sure, for me it was first of a thinking of, life sucks completely. There's no, I will suffer my entire life, but I'll make it a point to make it the best thing possible. And the only thing that's going to save me is for me to express myself, to help people, to be more open to people who want to know the real me. This is how it all started. This is the kind of statement I had. And then I had weeks and days where I really, again, felt like it didn't matter anything. I knew I've said that, but it sure as hell didn't feel like it. And at first it was, I got back in those depressive moods and didn't do anything. And then I remembered what, also Tony Robbins said, that you don't live there. You don't have to be in that space. That misery is as true as that aesthetic state. Period. Both happens in your brain. Everything, create that becomes. You can see the world that is totally horrible, and you can see this world as being wonderful. It's a choice, because both things exist. You can be realistic, you can, but normally if you consciously choose to be positive, your life will be better. Those are statistics that, you can look up online. Those are just things that go with your brain. This is no spiritual, esoteric thing or so on. This is just pure facts. Okay, so and for me it was that I was at such a low that I had to cling to that one thing that I can make better, that I can contribute, for me to keep on going, give me some kind of stimulation, something that gets me out of this hole. And so this was the first thing I had. And then when I got in those low moments, I said, I know I feel horrible, I know it feels like a lie right now. Nonetheless, I'm still going to do those things that help me to feel like that. I know I'm not going to feel like that like I did the other day, but I'm going to do those things that I did back then. And then I started listening to the kind of songs that helped me get more motivated, to get more strength. I started, doing the things I used to do that day. Because your brain kind of always remembers those things and it connects them, and then you get back in that space, and you'll see how more often, or you will get into those places where everything becomes clear. Because this is what it mainly is. We're just lost and don't have a place to go. But your brain is kind of, you can see it as a muscle. You can train those things. And so your mission statement starts rather small, but it's really important you can write it down. Like I personally really, I remembered it, but it was for me very, very obvious what I had to do and how I had to do it. But other things I do write down. I write down everything. I'll show you. I have, look, like my phone case. No, but I just want to show you how I write down everything. Like I sit at, just during the day, and I just start writing things down. These are all just notes that I had like from the last weeks, and just things I wanted to talk to you about the videos. And then there's, this is from before. Like I've always write down things that come to my mind at that moment. And then because at some point I will need those things and I will not remember them. They will not be as present to me in that moment. And so it is good to have like a statement that you can actually work on. And once you have that and you work more on that and you repeat that to yourself in those lowest moments that you have to do those things, although it doesn't feel like this, then first off, you're going to get into the better direction. But at the same time, your mission statement will become more clear. And then you will be able to really say, okay, I want to feel like, I am this person. It's not just something I want to be one day, or I have to be okay with this. The things really change. So you can really narrow your statement down, and the more you really grow in that area, the more you get to know yourself. The more you become authentic and set the right boundaries and say, this is who I am, and this is where I want to go, and this is what I want to achieve in this life. And I watched a video this morning from Brene Brown. She's like, a researcher, and she worked with a lot of, just really scientific research on empathy and compassion and on a happy life and so on. And for her, boundaries is like one of the main ingredients. And she says that if your boundaries are not in place, if you don't really tell people this is who I am, and you can't like do this to me, and those are things that we're most ashamed of. It's shameful that we have to feel powerful in certain situations. It's shameful to know that in certain areas we kind of whiny, or it's shameful for us to admit that we're rather cold. Those things, but this is still part of you, and you have to make those things known, because unless you're really setting boundaries, there's no real compassion, there's no real empathy, because there's always some kind of dependency with the other person, because you care so much what the other person thinks of you, instead of really making sure that you have those things in place. And a mission statement really helps you to stay firm. Because you may look like less lovely or less cool or less I don't know what, but you will be stronger, and you will be more compassionate, and you will understand people more, and you will affect people more once you really become clear about who you want to be, where you're going to go, and how you're going to do it. And the best thing for this is to have a statement that you work on, that you make more specific, and you look back at that thing every single time when you don't feel it in your core. Because having that flow, being in that flow, having this feeling is not something that comes easy, especially not in the beginning. You need to train yourself, you need to remember not to go certain places mentally where you used to go. And I do go there. Like I see something that reminds me of something I used to want, and then I go there mentally, and then after 10-20 minutes or maybe an hour, I realize, okay, no, this is not what my mission statement is. I want to be disciplined. I don't care about what I want now. I'll care about what I want most. And then I shift myself. So do yourself a favor, make a mission statement, be aware of where you want to be, who you want to be in this life, how you want people to see you, and how you want people to treat you, and how much of that can actually be taken care of by you. Because your main goal should be, what can I do for myself and what I expect then from others. And to have like certain things that you know, okay, I have to make a decision now. Like either I'm going to be myself, and this will mean I will also have to project and show people and just kind of like, not project, but express, you know, certain parts of me that I want people to respect and accept. And if they don't, then they will leave. Or if we're talking about your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents, or so on, if those are things who are really part of you, then you should know that as an end result, you should also put those boundaries to those people. And a mission statement will always help you to go in that direction. So yeah, this is it for today. I wish you all a great week, and talk to you soon. Bye.